What is the iftar cannon, and why does it hit in Ramadan month, and who made it hit? In most parts of Cairo, Muslims are accustomed to starting their iftar in Ramadan to the sound of cannon shots, and also they are accustomed to stopping food as soon as they hear its sound at dawn time. But what is its story, and how did it begin, and is the projectile that is fired from it a destructive, or just a sonic without any damage? And is this iftar cannon at all a special thing in Egypt, or is it widespread in all other Islamic countries? Is the issue of firing the cannon still going on today, or has this habit stopped in recent years? Welcome to the Weird Questions channel. In this episode, we will answer a question. What is the story of the Ramadan cannon? And before we start, if you are still new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell to get our videos first. At first, iftar word means evening meal with which Muslims end their daily Ramadan fast at sunset. This is their second meal of the day. The daily fast during Ramadan begins immediately after the pre-dawn meal, which is called suhoor, and continues during the daylight hours, ending with sunset with the evening meal of iftar. The iftar cannon appeared firstly in Egypt in the city of Cairo in the kingdom's era in the year 859 AH. And Cairo was the first Islamic city to use this method at sunset in the month of Ramadan, announcing the time for breakfast. And the strange thing about the issue of the iftar cannon is that it appeared by pure chance. On the first day of Ramadan in the year 859 AH, the king received a new cannon from one of the German factories. And when the king decided to try the cannon and fire a projectile from it, it was the exact time of sunset, and the sound of the cannon was very loud and spread throughout the city, and all the residents of the city, when they heard the sound of the cannon, they thought that the king deliberately fired the cannon at this particular time in order to warn them that it was time for breakfast, and they were very happy about this matter and decided that they should go to thank the king. A day later, a large number of families, elders and common people gathered and went to the king's palace and gathered there to thank him. At first, the king didn't understand what was happening. Why are all these people standing in front of the palace? In the end, he understood that the issue was related to the cannon, and they were very surprised, and that they liked the firing of a projectile at the time of sunset. The king didn't tell them that he didn't mean it, and that the matter happened by chance, and he liked the idea in the end, and he issued a decision that the cannon be launched in this way daily. In the month of Ramadan, and not only at the time of breakfast, but also at the time of suhoor. There is another famous narration that says that a similar situation happened during the reign of Governor Muhammad Ali the Great, and this was on one of the days of Ramadan in the year 1805 AD. The story says that Muhammad Ali bought a large number of modern war cannons because he was planned to build a strong army for Egypt, and on one time they were trying the cannons from above the castle. They fired a projectile whose sound was very loud, and it happened at the same time of Muslims' breakfast. They thought that it was a new decision issued by the king. On the second day, they waited for the sound of the cannon and nothing happened. They were very surprised at how the cannon didn't strike, and they asked the king that this issue be repeated throughout the month. Muhammad Ali agreed and issued a decision to fire the cannon daily. Cairo had 6 iftar cannons distributed in 4 places. 2 cannons inside the castle of Muhammad Ali, 2 cannons in Abyssinia, 1 in Heliopolis, and 1 in Helwan, and they were all fired together at the same time so that all the residents in Cairo and the places around it could hear their voice. The castle and the Abyssinia have 2 cannons, as if there is any malfunction in one of the 2 cannons, it would be an alternative. This is because of their keenness that the residents hear the sound of the cannon at breakfast time. It is amazing that these cannons in the past were in a very specific ritual of their own, which is that on the morning of the first day of Ramadan every year these utilities were loaded onto the fire brigade cars and taken from the warehouse to the places designed for them, and they were moving in a big celebration accompanied by horses, cars and the public, and this is of course because the Egyptian people love to be happy. Iftar cannons were taken out there. But they were taken out on other occasions, such as the Prophet's birthday, the Islamic New Year and the Revolution Day. After these occasions, the cannons would return to the stores again. One of the terrifying things about the breakfast cannon was that it has been working with live ammunition from the moment it appeared until the year 1859, And this is because with the advent of the year 1859 the area around the castle began to be filled with people and houses, and the urban sprawl around it began to be very dense, and it would be a dangerous thing if live projectile were used in residential areas. And for that the live projectiles were replaced with other unreal projectiles that emit a sound, but without any real explosion, and they used a new type of cannon with the ability to launch these sounds. With the passage of time, and during the country's passage of crises and wars, the Ramadan cannon was used for a long time and stopped working completely. But with the advent of the year 1983, a decision was issued by the Egyptian Minister of the Interior to refire the cannon a second time from over the citadel of Salah al-Din al-Ayyubi. He considered that the cannon was one of the Egyptian rituals that must be preserved. A new problem appeared, far from the issue of ammunition. The buildings of the castle began to be affected by the tremors that result from this cannon, other than the damage to the ancient monuments and facilities located in the place. And the Egyptian Antiquities Authority asked the government in the early 90s. They stopped firing the cannon from above the castle for fear of the area as it is an open museum of Islamic antiquities. Therefore, the main cannon was moved from its place several times and eventually settled on the Macadam Hill, which is close to the castle area and still in this place until now. And there were specialized security men operating the cannon, taking care of it, preparing sound gunpowder, and firing it twice a day, and it became in another group of cannons in different places in the governorates of Egypt. The story of the Ramadan cannon came out of Egypt and spread in the rest of the Islamic world with the advent of the 19th century. The iftar cannon appeared in Palestine, Baghdad, and Damascus, then it appears in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and it was a common habit there, which is that one projectile is fired at the time of breakfast and 2 consecutive projectiles are fired at the time of abstaining from eating at suhoor. And there are currently more than 6 cannons in Dubai dedicated to announcing the time of iftar, and then it appeared in Kuwait for the year 1907 and came out of the Arab world completely and appeared in a number of African countries such as Mali and Niger, also in some East Asian countries such as Indonesia, and in the end, the iftar cannon became one of the important symbols related to the advent of the month of Ramadan, and it became an integral part of the culture of Arabs and Muslims in general. Although there are TV channels, amplifiers and modern devices, this is because the sound of the cannon has a special ritual and is loved by everyone. One of the funny things is that young children who explode firecrackers in the street during the month of Ramadan, their behavior is not out of the blue. The basis behind the issue of explosives at this particular time is linked to the Ramadan cannon. The person who invented these crackers meant that children can imitate the sound of the cannon at breakfast time, especially the children who live in places far from the cannon's places and don't hear the sound of the cannon. And the children knew for a long time that they were explode the firecrackers in order to imitate the sound of the cannon, and that this is one of the ritual's popularity. This is the answer of the question of what is the story of the Ramadan cannon. If there are any questions that come to your mind, write it to us in the comments below this video so that we can answer you about it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the bell button to receive our videos first, and we will see you in the next episode. See you soon.